Live right now.
Officially
There
live
it
right
is.
now. What is
Cool.
up? Metal
Not
Gets
much
Me
at all.
High, episode 9. Got my co-host Brad, Ramon, me, Al. We have a very special guest today. We've got Cameron, also known as Light Dweller.
That is me. Thanks for having me on.
No problem, man. No problem at all. It's funny how I found out through you. Just literally hopped on Bandcamp. I had listened to the new Artificial Brain album, and then
Nice.
your album just kind of popped up as like something, somewhat similar. And what caught me was the artwork, and I was like, man, that's some sick artwork. So let me check this out. And I was not, I was extremely surprised. It did not disappoint at all, and it's in my top 10, man. I think you had a kick-ass offering with Lucid Offering.
Nice. Well, thank you for that. It doesn't surprise me about the whole artwork side of it. Truth be told, Adam Burke is the guy who made that art.
Okay.
He posted that on Instagram. Some people already know this. He posted it on Instagram in like June of 2021, so like a year ago. Like with a lot of his work, he just paints it already, just puts it out into the ether and says, "Hey, it's for sale."
Nice.
Right when I saw, right when I saw that, immediately I just like slipped into his DMs. I was like, that's the album art
Yeah,
that
that's what I
encapsulates my
need.
sound.
That's
Yeah.
cool. Like that. It obviously there's some kind of energy there that was like, oh, like this is kind of made for me, and I think that's pretty cool hearing that.
Nice. Yeah.
Well, the way I always like to start it is asking a simple question. How does metal get you high? Kind of meaning like, what does metal mean to you? Maybe how'd you get into it? Things of that kind of nature.
Yeah. So I heard this question being asked on a recent podcast. So I had some time to think about this, and I'm not going to lie, I've been having some difficulty coming up with an answer, but I'd like to say what the meaning of metal is to me is it's an outlet for any visceral emotion, I would say. But it's hard to even say that because punk is also kind of the same way. Just
Yeah.
I think like the real main distinction, and this is kind of splitting hairs, but it's just like a lot of the guitar work. So like when you're listening to punk, typically you're not really making this face like fuck yeah, that's a mean sounding riff.
Yeah,
It's only metal when that happens.
that's
So,
universal right there.
yeah.
Shit.
That's cool, man. That's cool. Like, what are some artists, punk, metal, hardcore, that are important to you that made you go, I want to pick up an instrument. I want to yell into a mic.
Yeah, at least since the beginning, like punk wise, because other than Limp Bizkit, punk is the first genre I ever got into. Limp Bizkit was the first band I ever got into when I was like 10 years old. But the Misfits were like the first band I ever really got into.
Nice.
That like got me into like music in general. About a year into like liking punk but mostly the Misfits. Then I got into like Metallica and thrash metal, and it was then where I started like actually like really playing guitar a lot.
Okay, that's cool, man. That's cool. What age did you pick up the guitar at?
12.
12? Okay, thanks.
Mm-hmm.
Oh wow,
That's young.
You got in early.
Yeah, so I've been playing for like 19 years. I'm forgetting, I can't do the math right now. I'm 31 years old, so like
Okay.
almost 20 years.
Nice, man. That's super cool. I think that's like the fun part of metal is obviously, people aren't gonna delve into death metal or black metal as their first genre or their first taste of metal. Usually, like you said, Limp Bizkit. I know that's one of Brad's for sure favorite bands, and for me, that artist was definitely Slipknot, and to this day, I'm a huge Slipknot fan. And I know in our genre we got a lot of elitist gatekeepers, but like I think that's what's fun about metal is that there's so many different things are metal, and that's what makes it fun. Is like for instance, I don't really mess with power metal that much, but I know there's big power metal fans out there, so I think that's fun.
One neat thing is like there's a lot of people who like could listen to death metal, but their roots could be derived differently. So like me, like it started off with punk and then thrash metal, and like it sounds like with you, like kind of like more new metal, like Slipknot.
Yeah, Deftones, that type.
Yeah, but it kind of led to the same genre that you listen to now, death metal. That's like a huge umbrella term, at least.
Definitely, and something I liked about your latest release, I like that it's definitely death metal, but I like that it had those like black metal undertones and like black metal feel to it. I think that's
Thank you.
pretty dope.
Yeah,
Ye-
yeah. I was listening to it on the way home from work, and yeah, that album is you did some work on that thing.
Nice, thank you. It's kind of hard not to slip in some like black metal here and there. I've been writing black metal for like a long time.
Okay.
Yeah, so like I really like I've been like I listen to like most metal styles. Like the only like genres I never really got into were like you said power metal,
Power metal.
like deathcore, and like kind of like doom, funeral doom, stoner doom. I never really got too much into those, but like pretty much everything else, like death metal, thrash metal, black metal, grindcore, you name it, just a whole bunch of stuff. So light dueler, yeah, light dueler is like more or less not 100%, but more or less like a huge culmination of like all the kind of bands I played in the past, like all like the different kind of styles. So like I played in like somewhat of a black metal band that's like post black. It's not like true black metal.
Yeah.
Like post black metal. And I played in a brutal death metal like slash slam band before. So
nice.
Yeah. So like Light Duel is just kind of like a hodgepodge of like a whole different bunch of styles. What's your question?
What's your favorite genre to play?
That's a good question. I like chords a lot. So probably like something leaning more towards black metal because on guitar it's so chordy. Death metal like especially like brutal death metal. It's like like it's not really fun to play without an amp. I'll say that. So
that makes a lot of sense. The distortion is definitely a big help. Like listening to death metal without distortion is a total trip. Whereas
definitely.
Black metal, it's funny. Like I just recently kind of found out that black metal, when without the distortion, kind of sounds like surfer rock, and I was like, that is so cool that I didn't know that. But that's what's fun.
Yeah, definitely.
Well,
imagine seeing a black metal going up there with no amp.
Yeah,
with the lyrics behind it.
I will say like black metal like acoustically can sound cool, but like death metal acoustically it won't work really.
You can't get it. Yeah.
Agreed. Have you ever been a touring artist, or have you just kind of just been a creator?
More so a creator.
Okay.
I have toured one time with that brutal death metal band that I briefly talked about. We were called Aberration.
Aberration, okay.
Yeah, we were on this label called New Standard Elite. So some people may recognize that. But yeah, we toured in like 2013. We played one of the Las Vegas Death Fests, which was like one of the last ones. Yeah. Played like a fest in Texas. So like we toured one time, and then we did a lot of weekend trips.
Okay.
Yeah. But beyond that, I played in another band called Nolding Roots. That was the post black metal band. We played here in Phoenix. We had tour offers and we tried a tour, but it's just something that never fell through. We only played locally. And I have a current tour plan for a band that I play live in now called Desiderium.
Nice.
Yeah, that will. We're trying to have that happen in October of this year coming up.
That's awesome.
Oh shit, that's dope.
Well, if you guys come near the Bay Area or Sacramento area, we'll definitely go try to check you guys out because that's
catching you out.
We like hitting the shows.
Nice. California is definitely a priority for us.
That's good, man.
Gotta come get our money.
It's something I also like about Light Dweller being that it's one man metal band. I think that's kind of cool too because usually tends to be a little bit more of a black metal thing. Like what's your writing process for that outfit like?
Yeah. So yeah, kind of real quick on the whole black metal comment. It started off as like a black metal thing. So like if you listen to the first EP, it's like a 5-song digital EP. I never pressed it to anything. That was like way more black metal sounding, but eventually it became more death metal. But to answer your question, the writing style, I can get like real detailed and nerdy about this.
Please do, because we're
just geeking out.
Yeah, we're not creators in any sense. So like
Gotcha.
I've
Okay.
tried to pick up the guitar multiple times and it just doesn't click for me. So it always fascinates me. Like, how do you do this? How do you come up with
Nice.
this awesome
Okay.
art?
Okay, so basically, I have my DAW open. I use Cubase. So let's say I have like a clean slate, just like blank new session file. I'll just pick a random tempo. Doesn't really matter. It's just very arbitrary. I'll just take like 170 BPM, for instance, and then just have the metronome playing. And I'm just quite simply playing guitar. And then once eventually I'll come up with something that I think I can work with. I record that. And I don't know where in that song that riff is going to be, or if I'll even ultimately use it. But basically, I record the first idea that comes to my mind, and then loop it over and over and over, and see if I can improve it, like erase it and then like touch up on it, or if it's good, append the riff and like record to the right or the left on a like a linear timeline. Basically, you just keep sculpting the riffs around it, just keep adding to them and programming the drums at the same time. Eventually you'll have a full song, and this is just the reference track, by the way. This is not how I like officially record everything.
Yeah.
So people often say like, oh, all the music's by one person. Like that's really impressive. It's a lot easier than people think. It's just very time consuming. So basically, like I said, like you have all the guitar written, and it's just chopped up like riffs that were written on different days. And then you have your like very, very much copy and pasted reference drums. So you can have something to get an idea of, and then you take the guitar hat off, then you put on the bass hat on. And at this point, I have written no bass parts, and that's essentially what you do at this point. You just go through the whole reference track with a fine-tooth comb and write all the bass parts. Eventually, that'll be over, and then you do the same thing with the vocals. And this is the goofiest part. After writing the lyrics, I will just like with this microphone right now as I'm talking to it, I'll play the song and I'm speaking the lyrics. I speak the lyrics as I record it. So every song that I have, there's a version of it with me, just my speaking voice. It sounds
Oh, that is
ridiculous.
awesome. you guys, you
That's pretty good.
Bonus track or something.
Yeah.
So
Add that to
then,
the end of it.
yeah. So then,
Man, that must.
and then
Go ahead.
once I'm finally done with that, that's the last step of writing. And it sounds like complete ass at this point because it's all like the transitions sound wonky and everything. So at that point, then I have to learn the whole song from front to back. I may not record everything in one go because I'm bound to mess something up. So like I'll punch in, but like for the most part, that's when I have to relearn the whole song. And then that's when I record it. Record the guitar, then record the bass, and then I take the laptop that I'm using to film this. I take it into my closet and I record the vocals.
Oh, okay, that's cool. And then do you
Mhm.
use like a drum program for the drums?
Yeah, I've been using the first like 3 albums. I was using Superior Drummer,
Okay.
but I got it illegally like 10 years ago. So I don't have it. And then my computer broke down. It was super old, so it just eventually it crapped out. Had to get a new computer. And I didn't. Superior Drummer 3 is like $600, so I wasn't down. There's this new company called Ugratone. I've seen ads for it, and it's $25 just for some drum VST, and I thought like that it's got to be awful. But it's only $25. If it sucks, then I'll just waste that money. But no big deal. But it sounds great, I think, and I liked it enough to use it for Lucid Offering.
Oh,
It sounds
nice.
great.
Oh,
So
yeah.
Thank you.
I definitely think that's $25 well worth spent for sure.
Yeah, definitely.
I would have
Yeah,
never guessed
yeah.
that.
Now, how hard is it going like switching hats between guitar and bass and vocals? Like that seems like it. That's so impressive that you're able to do that. I can't wrap my head around that.
Thank you. Yes, taking off the hat for guitar to bass is it's kind of easy because it's a very similar instrument. I've made a lot of recordings, so it's a lot of trial and error. The first like albums I ever made, it was a little bit harder to write interesting bass lines. I used to in the past rely just too much on the root note, and just the bass was like kind of boring. Eventually, just more trial and error, just more albums, more recordings. Then you can kind of just realize what makes a good bass line, so you can kind of just more easily trade hats. The vocals though, that was a little difficult. I've been doing vocals for like 10 years, but only doing them live since 2016, so 6 years now.
Okay.
And I feel like only until this last album, Lucid Offering, have I actually even really learned how to do vocals properly. So that previous band Nolingers that I played in around Phoenix, basically my approach with that was just to scream as loud as I can. And like you can get results, like the screams sound good, but I would just beat myself up on stage. It was just so physically taxing.
Yeah.
I one time I damaged my throat really bad. The uvula, like the punching bag thing in your throat,
Yeah.
it got like really swollen and like calloused.
Oh shit.
Yeah, like every time I would swallow, like if I'm like drinking water or something, I would partially swallow it down my throat.
Oh, damn.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it was really gross.
Oh shit.
I
That's
gotta
nuts.
commend you for that, because like we just mess around sometimes and try to throw down some vocals just in like playing. And I feel you, man. There have been times where I have been like the whole next day I'm like, man, this kind of hurts. So I feel like I've only barely gotten to a place where like I could do it fairly comfortably, but I couldn't imagine doing like a whole set or more than like 5 or 10 minutes of it. So that's
Or recording a
Isn't
whole
that
album.
how?
yeah.
Isn't that how didn't Matt Heath almost like completely ruined his voice doing stuff like that, didn't he?
Yeah, he did.
I'm not
I remember
mistaken.
I saw him on the tour with Trivium like 3 shows before his voice went out. So
Oh no shit.
yeah, you can do some damage, man.
Yeah. But yeah, my thing was I was just like projecting too hard. I didn't realize like take it back a step, like don't project as hard. And yeah, it sounds first and foremost you have more stamina. You can scream longer and not hurt yourself, and it'll sound better. You have more tonal control. So yeah, it's only within the last year did I feel like I like really learned how to do vocals properly. And I was able to record that for Lucid Offering. So therefore that album is the first, like, in my opinion, vocals that I did a good job on. So to trace it back to your original question a few minutes ago, trading hats for different parts of the music, from guitar to vocals, that took a long time to like really get down. And then beyond just like the practicality of how to do the vocals, like vocal placement within the songs, like it just took a really long time to figure out like how to structure the vocal placements in a really catchy kind of way.
Okay. That makes
total
sense.
Okay.
Well, I just want to know, like, do you, as far as your band, do you have like any merch or anything like that that's available?
Yes, we have, or I have, one shirt line, and it is
Okay.
almost gone. There's only like a small and medium left.
Oh,
Oh
okay.
hell yeah!
Sure.
Congratulations.
That might go
Thank you.
around my leg.
I do plan on making more merch.
Mhm.
Basically, it's just the album. I already have the art. It's basically the album artwork, but I kind of
Okay.
like changed it a little bit, like the logo placement.
That's cool.
I might. I don't want to speak a little bit too ahead of myself, but I'm trying maybe to play live. I'm going to be jamming with a drummer this coming Sunday. We'll see how it goes. The same drummer for the band Desiderium that I play in. So we'll
Nice.
see.
Very nice.
Yeah. And if it does become
Cool.
a live thing, then definitely need to get the merch or more merch than I currently have. So definitely more merch would be coming soon if I do play live.
For sure. That'd be cool. That's always been
Hell yeah.
my favorite thing as a metal fan. I just freaking love merch, man. I love black t-shirts, and I was kind of browsing around and I didn't see anything, so that's why I thought I'd ask. And that's a fun part of metal is the merch, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, just have one shirt on Bandcamp, so it could be hard to oversee.
Oh, okay, for sure.
Mhm.
Like, is Bandcamp the place that is that something you use a lot as far as like finding new music, or you use a
Yeah,
little bit of everything?
yeah, I love Bandcamp as like both like from like the artist perspective and the consumer perspective. I just it's the only platform that really you can make money off of, or at least that I have successfully made money off of it. And it's not even a lot of money, but like anywhere like Spotify, consumer from the consumer point of view, like Spotify is kind of good, at least if you have a membership with them.
Yeah.
But like, you know, the royalty, I'm sure like you guys have already like always hear like the
Yeah.
royalty. Yeah, it's dog shit. So Bandcamp, like the fans could, you know, directly buy your stuff from you.
That's dope.
Mhm. So I've always liked Bandcamp, especially because like you can sell the merch directly there. So like there's always like Big Cartel, but that's like I don't use it, so I can't comment too much. But like to my knowledge, that's like only selling merch. So it's not like you listen to music there. You don't find new music there. That you just plug in your Big Cartel link to your social media. So it's like
Okay.
the fact that Bandcamp has connected the merch and the music, it's really like smart on their end.
Yeah.
So I just like Bandcamp a lot.
And you know what? Bandcamp
One-stop
as
shop.
like a user, yeah, as a user too, it's like finding new music on there is so easy. You know,
So
you just
easy.
Yeah,
pop in the genre you like, and it just shows you all the new releases of, you know, it's. I just got into it, and I've found a lot of new music on it.
nice. That's awesome.
I like it because I feel like with Spotify, it is kind of hard to find music, and I feel like, you know, a lot of people in our community are like, "Oh, there's no good music out." But as soon as I got Bandcamp, I was like, "What are people talking about?" There's all kinds of music, and there's all kinds of different types of music. I've caught myself, you know, I'm kind of with you where you said earlier, not like big in like the you know, doom metal, you know, 16-minute droning songs, but I've tried a couple out, just like, well, if people like it, let's see what this is about. And that's what I like about it. It's forced me to listen to maybe some stuff I wouldn't listen or wouldn't find like your music. And then I'm like, oh, like this is freaking sick. I gotta listen
Nice.
to this.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I picked up one of the vinyls. Just waiting for it to come in, so I can't wait for that.
thank you. The
No.
record label Total Dissonance Worship just received them yesterday or 2 days ago.
Okay.
Yeah, so I'll be receiving them very soon, and in which case they will then be sent out after that. So
Nice.
Oh, hell yeah.
I'd say within 2 weeks I'd be
No
sending them
problem.
out.
Wow.
I mean, I've always heard too that vinyl right now these days is a headache, and you have to freaking get that stuff months in advance, and sometimes there's delays. So freaking no problem with
Yeah,
that, man.
the current wait time. I'm not like an expert at this because I've never produced vinyl myself, so I don't really know how it works. But because Total Distance Worship produced it, this record for me. But I'm always hearing that the current wait time is like 13 months for vinyl, unless you pay
Holy
like
shit.
unless you pay like a premium. So here's the part that I don't fully understand. I'm sure someone watching could easily correct me, but like there's like an option where you can pay like a premium like price where like the production cost of each vinyl is like, I don't know, like would be $10 to $15, so you make less money in the long run, but but the turnaround time is like a couple months.
Okay.
So
Yeah,
that,
you get out
so
your
that-
material faster.
exactly, and that's what we did.
That's
Yeah,
cool.
so-
man.
That makes sense. Yeah, and get it out there as you know the album's fresh.
Exactly, yeah, because I don't want to wait a year. People will forget by then.
Yeah, that's nuts.
They'll
Sad
be waiting for the
reality.
next album, yeah.
Exactly.
Are you currently working on anything at the moment with Light Dweller, or are you just kind of taking some time after that release?
Taking a little bit of time because I'm trying to see about the whole live situation.
Okay.
But I am writing music for another project.
Nice.
Yeah, so it's like way different style too. It's very melodic, not like dissonant
Okay.
or too heavy. So sometimes like I'll like to take a creative break from like one style of music and then write something else. And then when I get bored of that, I'll return to whatever style I was taking a break from before.
That's cool. I've always liked that when people have different outlets, because I'm sure it could get stale, and creating different stuff has got to be like a good way to keep yourself sharp.
Absolutely, yeah. Because if you're writing the same style all the time, like you said, it'll like to you it'll get stale, and then you'll start kind of cutting corners, and then just pumping out riffs, the first riffs that come to your mind, and they're like not really the best ones. So it's good to like work on other things, I think. So then when you do return to the thing, you have like a new fresh set of ears, and your standards are like still pretty high, and you're not just churning out the first ideas that come to your mind.
No, that totally makes sense.
Makes sense.
Being in Phoenix, how do you think the metal scene is out there? Is it pretty healthy? Do you guys have a pretty good amount of artists out there, would you say?
Yeah, it's pretty awesome here. Because I grew up like as in Torrance, California, which is LA County.
Yeah.
For all I know, I moved to Phoenix when I was 24. And for all I know, maybe it was just like a lack of connections. But when I played in a band in LA, I found it very hard to open for like national acts that are touring. I remember I was like, this is like 2009. I was like 18 years old. And the Whiskey A Go Go, my first band, we're seeing if we can open for them, and they wanted us to pre-sell 80 tickets. Like, dude, I don't know that many people.
You're like, come on, man.
Yeah.
Totally fair.
And I live like 30 minutes away from the Whiskey. It's like, dude, no one's gonna go. Yeah. So I just found it kind of hard to find shows out there. Because there's a lot of bands in LA. So maybe that's
sure.
maybe that's the reason, because there's too many, so too much competition, oversaturation. Now there's a good amount of bands here in Phoenix as well. So I think it's a little bit of two things. Slightly less oversaturation, because there's a lot of bands, but not as many as LA. But I think just the promoters here were way cooler than the LA ones, because with my previous band, Nolingers, like our first show ever, like they're already having like the promoters around here. I just cold email them, and they would just have us open for like pretty big acts, like Alcest, if you guys are familiar with them.
Yeah.
They came through Phoenix, and I just asked the promoter, put him on, like, hey, can we open for them? Just like, I didn't think we'd get on it. Like, yeah, all right, cool, yeah, you open, you play at 8. Like, all right, nice,
sweet.
no pre-sales or anything.
That's dope. That kind of reminds me of us, where we're just kind of starting this podcast as fans, and we've just kind of reached out to various artists. And last week was our first metal guy, where we had Stephen Bull of one of our favorite bands, 200 Stab Wounds, and it was like holy shit, yeah, let's do this, man. So it was like, I know obviously you guys are normal people like us, but when you're a fan, it's just like, oh, it's like this is kind of real now. What the heck?
Oh shit, we're having them on. We bust out my finest hat, shirts.
Yeah, I saw that episode. I'm just a studio musician though. I'm not like a touring act, so I don't think I'm a huge deal. But
no,
yeah,
you know what? You're
cool
still an artist, and you're, from what you've got with Light Dweller, you're kind of just starting that, and you're working with a lot of different stuff. So I 100%, think you're a musician to me. Someone who has no music ability and has no ability to create. I'm like, dude, this guy freaking creates an entire album by himself. That's incredible.
Yeah,
absolutely. I appreciate that.
Especially because I can't even hold a guitar correctly.
Where was that show that you opened for Alcest at?
It was at the now closed Club Red in Mesa, Arizona.
Okay, nice.
Mm-hmm. It was a really cool venue too.
Me and Brad, one time we were in Phoenix for spring training, and just randomly we're like, hey, let's see if there's any concerts around. And I think we went to, if I'm not mistaken, it was the Marquee Theater. I think that might have been the venue.
Yeah.
Okay,
it was Corrosion of Conformity, I Hate God, and Black Label Society. And like, that always makes me, I thought it was a super sick show, and I thought it was like a pretty cool scene. That was a couple of years ago, but me and Brad are always like, man, we need to go back. We need to see if it really is a cool scene. So it's cool hearing that you guys do have a good scene.
Yeah, definitely. I lived right near the Marquee. If you remember, that's the one on Mill Avenue. If you remember that much.
Yeah.
I remember that.
Okay. Yeah, I used to live near there. That venue was always pretty hard to play. Like the promoters there, they didn't want too many local acts, but most of the other areas, like the Club Red place that I opened for Alcest at, um, they would let a lot of locals play. And other people who set up that Alcest show at Club Red, they just moved to the Nile Theater.
Okay, I've heard of that
also
one.
Okay, yeah. So a lot of the touring acts, like any like big band, you look at their flyer. If it's ever in Phoenix, chances are it's either at the Marquee or the Nile.
Nice. Okay, that's good to know.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely good to know.
I have a question. I know you said the Misfits and Limp Bizkit were two bands that helped you get into metal, but who
Yes.
made you pick up the axe? Is there a certain person that made you pick up the axe?
Metallica, pretty much.
Very nice.
So like
right
I
hand.
was, yeah. So like technically, like I did pick it up before Metallica, but I was just kind of like casually playing, and then Metallica is like really what made me like really want to get good and like practice all the time and like actually like jam with people and everything.
That's
Very
dope.
nice.
What's your favorite Metallica album? I know obviously they've got killer stuff, but what's your go-to?
It's a really hard call to make, but I would say Ride the Lightning.
Ride the
'Cause
Lightning.
Yeah.
yeah, I like the
Great
like the
album.
old like the super thrash elements that Kill 'Em All has, but Kill 'Em All is not quite. It's not like dark like Ride the Lightning is. So therefore Kill 'Em All is my second favorite. Ride the Lightning is my first favorite.
Oh, yeah.
And then as far as like Injustice and Master Puppets, that one's really hard to make the call, but I would say Injustice third favorite, and then Master Puppets fourth favorite.
See, we always talk about it. It comes down to those first four albums with
Those
Metallica.
first
It's like
It does.
you really can't find a band with a 4-album stretch, let alone like their first 4 albums that are just pure masterpieces. And you know, it's so fun to go back to those. And I like how right now, you know, like I've been going on my metal sites and seeing the whole Stranger Things scene where the kid's playing Master of Puppets, and it's like I wonder what it's like to be a kid again and go back and be like, oh, what the heck is that? That is so
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah. Is that by chance the scene where like they put a cassette in a cassette player and they're levitating? Because I've seen memes on that, but I don't know if that's.
I know what you're talking about. I've seen
that
Sangwa Sugarbog posted a
Okay.
thing on the metal site where they're doing that. But no, like I don't watch the show.
The latest episode,
I
guess.
just saw
Yeah.
the scene on Metal Injection, and it was basically like a kid playing a guitar with an amp, and like there's like dark shit going on in the background and whatnot.
It was
And I was
pretty
like,
hard. I'm not even gonna lie.
it was pretty hard. And then like I guess the villain, reading on Metal Injection, the villain supposedly like listened to a lot of Dark Throne and Sun O and Mayhem to kind of, you know, find that part or whatever. So I was like, that's pretty cool that, you know, something as mainstream as Stranger Things has these heavy metal and not like, you know, like new metal, like literal thrash and black metal kind of things
Some
going on
OG
in the
shit.
background.
Yeah.
As far as black metal goes, who are some of your you know influences as far as black metal?
Yeah. This is actually a hard question to answer because I don't know how to pronounce a lot of the bands.
Dude,
That makes sense.
that's me listening to
Dude,
anything on
my-
Bandcamp. I'm like,
Probably my favorite black metal band. I think it's Mgmh, Mgla. Oh man,
Okay.
freaking Exercises in Futility. That's
Oh, Mgwa. Yeah.
Mgmh. There we go.
I heard it's Mgwa. It means
Okay.
like fog.
We
It
finally
means
got
fog
it.
in Polish, and like that translates to Mgwa. Yeah, they're I would say they're an influence. Them, Batushka.
Nice.
Here's one that I don't know how to pronounce. I'm gonna butcher it. Eclipses. They're from Colorado. They made recent waves, or they made waves in recent years. I don't know how to even pronounce the album title. Samala Guy or something. So that's one. I don't know if you guys even know what I'm talking about, but
I'm sure I've seen it on my Bandcamp.
yeah. And then there's another one. They released an album a few days before me, and this one's even harder to pronounce, but I'm super into them. They're on I Void Hanger Records, like Esoctrillium or something.
Okay, I've
yeah.
seen that artist. I know exactly
Okay.
what you're talking about now.
Nice. Okay. Yeah, I'm super into them.
That's cool.
So they're
That's
they're
cool.
a big influence.
Have you had any like artist or anybody that you're like, oh, reach out to, like this is a cool album, or seen something like this is a cool album that you're kind of like, oh, damn, that's kind of cool that they check that out.
I've had like bigger artists show interest in my work, but they didn't like
Okay.
but they didn't like necessarily reach out to try to talk to me. So
Gotcha.
Makes sense.
they'll like follow me
I
on
know what you mean.
Instagram and then like a bunch of my posts, and like consistently too. So it's not like really a spam thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's cool.
Yeah, the biggest one being at Trevor from the Black Dahlia Murder, rest in peace.
Oh man.
Yeah,
Man,
Yeah.
I saw that. I
kills
saw
us.
he followed you, and I was like, "Oh wow, Trevor knows about Light Roller. Like this is
Yeah.
crazy." But yeah.
We've
R.I.P.
we've gone over it too, like that he's I think they're number 2 in bands that I've seen live the most, just because they're a great show. They always put out great packages, and like I remember getting into metal as like 17, 18-year-old. He had that column on Metal Injection, and like I can't tell you how much metal he showed me through that like that one really hurt. I remember we worked some normie jobs, and I just looked over at Ramon and I saw the news, and like I just couldn't even believe it was true. I was like, dude, Trevor died. Like, and he's just like,
Yeah.
what?
Yeah, it was a real shock when I heard it, because the weird thing is like I'm 31 years old, but I know like a weird amount of people who have died, like in my personal life, but like Trevor, someone I didn't formally know, like that was like
Yeah.
that like affected me more than, it sounds fucked up to say, but a lot of people I went to high school with,
Oh yeah.
like his
Love
death,
it.
and like because he was the whole saying, like when someone takes their life, like oftentimes like they're the last person suspected of suicide.
He seemed so
100%.
happy.
Yeah,
And,
like
yeah.
that's no more true than in the case with Trevor, I thought. So like it really messed with my mind.
Me too, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a blindside. It was a fucking complete blindside. Because
Definitely.
he looked like in prior weeks, he just looked like he was really happy, you know.
Yeah,
And
definitely.
I saw his post on Instagram. He just went to like a wedding with his girlfriend, and you know everything looked happy do. And then all of a sudden that hit, and it was just, man, it was a shock.
Yeah. I think that wedding post was like the day before too. So it was,
Yeah,
like, super recent.
hella
Yes,
recent. It's
they're
hella fresh
incredible.
still in my mind, at least.
We just seen them on their last tour with After the Burial and Undeath and Rivers of Now, and it was a kick-ass show. Got to freaking buy a new Black Dahlia shirt, and
Nice.
you know, I'm glad at the end of the day that I was able to catch them on the last show, but I'm sad that that's the end. You know, a band that I don't think there's a band that was more consistent with putting out records, touring, and never. If I've went back and listened to all their discography, and there's not a single dud in there.
Nope. No, it was
Correct,
great.
yeah.
Great songwriting, like the cadence, the instruments. Yeah, that was
Dude, even how
it's a solid band.
his highs and his lows, like sometimes it's like this has got to be 2 people. Like this can't be
Yeah.
just one dude.
Yeah.
We'll kind of start winding it down. We'll go ahead and we'll hit the question. The question that we like to ask is, if somebody who is non-metal fan, you know, takes interest in metal to some extent, and is like, hey man, what's metal? Like, what can you show me something? What is the song or the artist that you'd be like, this is metal, you need to check this out?
Yeah. I would say Metallica. It's a little bit of an easy answer though.
They're unmessable.
Yeah, maybe something like more contemporary. A good like easy band to get into that's like pretty heavy like heavier than Metallica and like new, I would say is Hath.
Yes.
All That Was
Yeah.
Promised, that album. That's a
Great
good one,
album.
I think. Yeah, like I feel like someone who's like it's like that would be pretty heavy for them, but like just enough, and it's like catchy enough for them for someone who's not into that style to like that would be like the perfect one to reel them in, I'd say.
Yeah.
It totally makes sense.
Oh,
What
yeah,
about
that's
you,
a
Brad?
great-
You have anything you want to shout out as far as a song you would try to get somebody in metal with?
Don't worry, Cameron. I'll go ahead and take the easy way out, and I will. I'll recommend a Metallica song. I'm gonna go with my favorite Metallica song is the Four Horsemen off Kill 'Em All.
Nice.
Excellent
That-
track.
The riff that the first solo comes in, that's one of my favorite riffs. The dun 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 dun.
Oh yeah.
Absolutely, yep.
Yeah.
What about you,
Yeah.
Ramon? What's the track you're gonna shout out today?
You know what? I had one and it lost my mind until you guys brought up Metallica. And all I can think about is I would recommend a video and watch this video. It's the Big Four and they play Am I Evil they're covering Diamond Head. That is, every time I think of Metallica, for some reason I think of that video. So I would say Am I Evil by the Big Four. Yeah.
Okay.
I'll go ahead and
I'm like, did I say that backwards?
I'll have to check that out. I haven't seen that myself.
Oh, that's
I think it's live
video.
at Yankee Stadium in 2009, if I'm not
The
mistaken.
Yeah.
Big Four,
The Big Four.
it's fucking. You have
Every
four
member's
right
playing
hands.
drums. You got guitars. It's just heavy.
It really
Yeah.
is. Like the only band I don't think that's really there was Slayer, other than Lombardo. But
Yeah,
Scott Ian's on stage riffing, Mustaine's on stage riffing. Mustaine
Hetfield.
sings a part of the song. Joey Belladonna sings a part, so it's pretty cool little
Hetfield. Don't
medley.
get it twisted though. He takes the reins.
Yeah, of course.
He gets that shit done.
The song that I think I want to shout out this week, it's a song I've been listening to a lot lately, and as someone who doesn't play guitar is listening to a podcast, and they're saying it's probably the hardest solo to play, and it's thrash adjacent, or it is thrash. I'm gonna go with "Tornado of Souls" by Megadeth. That song, I love the guitar work in that song. I think Dave Mustaine is one of the best songwriters in metal, and I think you'll take something away with that for fresh ears as far as someone who hasn't listened to metal.
Yeah. On the topic of solos, if I can just say one solo, I think is the best solo of all time.
Please.
Advanced Corpse Tumor from Necrophagus. That solo that was just the best, I think.
Dude, Necrophagus. I want them to come back with something because they've gone so long without putting anything out, and that is some of the best guitar work in tech death. I'm glad you brought them up. They're an artist we haven't talked about, but they're so great.
Nice. Yeah, unfortunately I wouldn't hold my breath, but one can dream.
Yeah, I agree. I know that one's probably never going to happen. That's like I Am Morbid and Morbid Angel. Those original members ever getting back together. They're two different bands now.
Yeah.
Well, let everyone know where they can find your stuff as far as socials and
plug all the bands. Whatever you're doing,
wherever they could find you, man.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. So basically, just lightdweller.bandcamp.com. So Bandcamp, same with Spotify. My main things are Bandcamp and Spotify.
Okay.
Also on all the regular social media, Facebook, Instagram, you know the deal. The band that I currently play live in, Desiderium. Also check them/me out, us in Desiderium. We play around Phoenix and hopefully we'll be touring soon. So also on Bandcamp and Spotify. So
nice. Well, I hope you guys are able to go on tour, and I think that's a cool thing. Then for fans of the show, like and subscribe, please. Our trusty Ramon over here runs our socials at MGMH Pod. So freaking check out Light Dweller and hopefully in Desiderium, and hopefully we'll get some more music from both of those artists. Both those both those bands that you do, and hopefully we get to see you on tour, man. We'd love, if you're ever around, we'll Hopefully you
We're
get to meet
definitely
in
there.
person. Say what's up, man.
Thanks. I will definitely come by California. It's definitely on the top of the bucket list.
Hell
Hell
yeah,
yeah,
we'll be
man.
there, man.
Nice.
Cool deal. Well, that ends episode 9 of Metal Gets Me High. Thanks, guys.
Thanks, Cameron.